Alright, this is the review for Dragoncraft and the mini expansion. And let's start with Neptune. So, Neptune is an 8 play point 5/5. Accelerate 3, summon a Mega Lorca, give it Storm. Ward, Fanfare, summon 2 Mega Lorcas. Whenever an allied Mega Lorca comes into play, give it Storm. Well, you can ramp into it, and it gives you 4 damage Storm on turn 8. Turn 3 can give you 2 damage Storm, which is pretty standard for Storm cards with that stat, or with that play point amount. I don't know. It's a good card, and it's cool to see Neptune return, but at the same time, it does give you a ward too. But I think it'd only be played in ramp. I don't know if it's going to be fitting in any of the new archetypes. And as we'll see soon with Dragon's new archetype, I'm not sure if you'd be playing a deck that uses Neptune. It's definitely a good card, though. You can use the Megalorcas as face damage or removal. It's a ward. You can easily ramp into it. It's sort of the replacement for Poseidon, but I have mixed feelings about it. Like, I want it to be good, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be good. But we'll see. Verdant, Curse Shadow, 4 play point 4/4. I feel like that stat line's too large for what this does. Fanfare, put a Shadow's Corrosion into your hand. Evolve, Bane. Doesn't need Bane. Evolve, reduce the cost of all Shadow's Corrosions in your hand by 2. This card is really good because Shadow's Corrosion is a 4 cost Natura card. Give your leader the following effect. At the end of your turn, deal X damage to the enemy leader. X equals the number of allied Natura Great Trees that have been destroyed during the match. This effect is not stackable. If you've played other corrosions, you may destroy a random enemy follower. This card is pretty insane. So you not only are overloaded in the stat line, you get Bane on Evolve, so you can remove anything on turn 4, and then if your opponent, let's just say turn 5, plays a 5-drop, evolves, they have to remove it, and then they lose their 5-drop. And then you get to reduce the cost of the Shadow's Corrosion, which is your win condition, essentially. Be a 2 play point, so you can easily fit it with any other play on that turn. And then you start doing face to the enemy leader. And as we'll see later, it might not be too hard to get 2 trees destroyed by this point. So you'll start doing 2 damage, then 3 damage, etc. The more trees you're getting rid of. Warranted, I'm kind of freaking out. I think this card might be good, but at the same time, as we'll see also later, there's not many tree options for Dragon compared to some of the other crafts. So maybe it isn't super powerful, but at the same time, if you are playing the tree deck and you do get this on turn 4, you'll probably win by turn 8, assuming they don't have a lot of healing, and that's pretty scary. And even not including this, just the fact that you're getting a 4/6/6 with Bane on turn 4 with the extra benefit is just really good. So I think this card we'll see play in the archetype. It's definitely the archetype definer, similar to the Force Craft card. 6 play point 5/5, Hoarfrost Trisopterus, Natura, Fanfare. If there's a tree in play, randomly destroy one and destroy an enemy follower. Last words, if there are no trees in play, summon this thing, summon a tree. This card will definitely see play in the tree archetype. 6 play point, body with hard removal, destroys a tree, which furthers your win condition, and then when they destroy this card, which they'll have to, unless they banish it somehow, you're going to get another tree, and it's just going to help further your game plan. There doesn't seem to be many banishes added in this expansion, and there's definitely not many banish options available in many crafts, so it'll be hard to. You can think of it as just you get the free +1 on the tree destruction tick. You get to draw a card because of it. Also, because of the tree's last words, you can destroy an enemy follower, and then this thing gives you a tree when they have to answer it. Overall, this is just a really good card. Phoenix Howl, 5 play point spell. Summon a Star Phoenix, deal 2 damage to all enemy followers. I don't think this card will see play. Even if fairies become really powerful. Really, this might be the anti-fairy card, honestly. And it kind of does eat up some Machina decks. So maybe this card will see play just for the fact that if Machina stays a threat, or the fairy deck becomes a threat, then this card can essentially clear a board. Can deal 4 damage to one follower and then deal 2 damage to everything else. And then you can reuse the Phoenix later. It is turn 5 though, which is a hefty cost. But at the same time, you can clear large boards that have gone wide. It might see play. It really depends, I think, though, on the current meta. I don't think it'd be good against Elena, definitely. It might not be good against some of the new archetypes, as we'll find out. But it might see play depending on what is good and what is bad. So we'll have to wait and see. If anything, it might be a tech. Bubbleborn Mermaid, 2 play point 2/2, fanfare. Put Mermaid Healer or Gadget Mermaid into your hand. And Mermaid Healer is the one that heals all of their allies by 2 play points. Or 2 health, not play points. And then Gadget Mermaid's 2 play point, 2/1 with Storm if there's another Machina card. I don't think this card will see play. It's just too random. I mean, it does give you value, which is something. It does have a standard 2 play point stat line. But the fact that you can't really choose what you get, and the fact that I feel like the healer might be the worst out of the 3, or the 2, sorry. And you'd rather get mermaids. It's just too random. I don't think this card will see play. Whirlwind, however you pronounce that. 3 play point 2/2, Natura, fanfare. There's a tree in play, randomly destroy one, and ramp. Last words, if there are no allied trees in play, summon a tree. Well, it's ramp. Don't think it would fit in Ramp Dragon, necessarily, unless you're running some Ramp Dragon tree deck, which, honestly, this new tree archetype might fit in a ramp archetype, so maybe this card would be good for both in that case. But it's definitely good for the tree archetype, because you get a body that gives you an empty play point orb, and then you get another tree back, so it furthers the win condition. You get to draw a card, get another orb. It's just, you get the body on board. It's just a really good value card, and it's sort of this card in conjunction with the Rhinoceros, in conjunction with whatever his name is. It's sort of scary how powerful these all go together. So I think this card will definitely see play in this archetype. 1 play point Feral Aether. So it's Dragon's Aether. You have the tree, you have to recover 1 play point, and then on turn 10 or later, put a Wind Blast Dragon in your hand. And then Wind Blast Dragon is, of course, the 6 play point 5/5 with Storm. And apparently when you evolve it, you get a T. Whatever that means. Somebody type it there. But this card is good. You get the tree, which helps further your game plan. You can get a free tree later on. And it serves as an alternate win condition late game, if for some reason you just need to close off that last 5 damage. So it's just a good card. We'll definitely see play. Filler. I can already say this is pack filler, but Dragon Blader, 8 play point 5/5. Crystallize 5, countdown 3. Fanfare and last word, summon a dragon. Fanfare, summon a dragon. This is just pack filler. I mean, Dragon is a 5 play point, so you can definitely get the 5 play point and then get another one, another dragon later on. But you have to wait 3 turns for the next dragon, and on turn 8 you can essentially do exactly what the crystallize does, have 2 dragons out essentially. But with what dragon's going to be wanting to do, I don't think this is what they want to be doing. And honestly, if you're going to run this card, you might as well just run Neptune. I don't think you'd run this card at all. This is sort of just pack filler. I don't think it'll ever be played unless you're playing some budget deck. Dragon Chef, 3 play point 3/3. Fanfare, restore 1 defense to your leader. If an amulet is in play, restore 3 defense instead. Well, the tree's an amulet, so if you include this in the tree deck, you get a 3/3 stat line, restore 3 defense, which is really good. It's interesting that it's amulets instead of tree, so you can play this with any amulet deck, such as Dragon's Horde, for example. So maybe this will be a good card for niche uses. I mean, definitely, if you're playing against an aggressive deck, you can restore 3 defense, which can keep you alive longer for maybe the Phoenix is the new Phoenix card. And then you can get rid of their aggressive deck, or the aggressive board, I should say. This might see play. It's sort of hard to judge. It's a good card, but it'll definitely be good in Take 2, I think. I don't know if it'll be good in Constructed, though. We'll have to see. Lightning Velociraptor, 2 play point 2/2. Put a tree into your hand. If Overflow is active for you, put 2 into your hand instead. Well, this card is just good for the fact that it has the standard stat line. You're getting the tree, which furthers the win condition or more draw potential. And then if Overflow is active, you can get 2, which even furthers your game plan even more. Also essentially gives you a draw 2 cards late game. It's just good. It's 2 play point, or I guess a 4 play point, draw 2 cards. Add 2 more procs to your win condition. And then early game, it can at least start up your tree and just be a body. It's good. I think this card will be played for sure. 5 play point, Dragon Newt Needler, 4/5. Fanfare, selects an enemy follower and deal 3 damage if it is already damaged. If it is not, deal 1 damage instead. I think this is pack filler. I don't think you'll ever play this card. Like, if you're trying to get rid of something such as anything full health that they evolved or just played, you're going to only deal 1 damage. And then the 3 damage really isn't worth it, because you might as well just be running Disdainful Rendering or just any other removal, really. I don't think this card will see play. It just doesn't really fit in anything. And dealing 1 damage to just some random follower is not really that useful. So I think this card won't see play at all. So overall, I think Dragoncraft is going to be another strong deck. I say that about everything, but as we'll see in every archetype, these decks are insane. But this deck I think will be scary too. Since I've only really looked over and thought about Forest and Dragoncraft, I don't really know how it stacks against everything else. In terms of Forestcraft versus Dragoncraft, it's hard to judge. There's a lot going on. I'm already really liking how this expansion is turning out so far, just based on what I'm reading. There are so many new archetypes and so much support for these archetypes. So this next rotation, there's going to be a lot of different decks that can be played, and a lot of different decks that are going to be really strong. But we'll have to see how this deck compares to all of it. It definitely has the control aspect, the ramp aspect, has a little bit of everything. And you can just passively destroy your opponent while you're controlling their board. And really, I haven't even taken into account the neutral cards yet. So I think this archetype will be really powerful.